Today I'm going to show you guys how my client Sam lost 32 pounds in 3 months using what I call the M3 protocol. And he achieved this while working out less and without having to starve or give up his favorite food. Matter of fact, during those 3 months, he actually went on vacation, he attended a wedding, and he had a friend's birthday party that he went to. And he was still able to go out, enjoy food, enjoy time with friends, and lose 32 pounds. And of course, I'm gonna give you guys the exact blueprint. I promise you, if you take notes and you follow what I'm saying throughout this video, in 3 months, you'll be able to lose a minimum of 20 pounds. Most of you who excel will lose 32 pounds. Some of you guys might be able to go on 6 months from now, 9 months from now, and lose even more weight. But if you follow what I'm telling you, you'll see very similar results. Before we dive into the M3 protocol, I want to give you an idea of who I am and how I came to even come up with this method, right? So growing up, I was a multi-sport athlete. I played soccer, I wrestled, I ran track. I was very active. And because of that, I was used to essentially eating whatever I wanted and being fit. I never had any issues. I always had abs growing up. I was just that fit kid around the block, right? But all this changed when I started college. Like most people gain the freshman 15, freshman 20, 30. Like most people, I started to gain weight. This is, I think in the first couple weeks of me being in college, I was starting to gain fat around my stomach, some more love handles. Abs weren't as defined. To most people, I still look pretty healthy. I still look pretty fit, right? But to myself, I started to feel the impact. In between this time, this was again my freshman year, to this time, which was after I graduated college, I stopped taking shirtless pictures because I wasn't as confident in myself anymore. I didn't like looking at myself shirtless. I felt slow, I felt lethargic, I felt unfit. And when you're somebody who's always healthy, always has a six pack, and you go from that to now looking not like that, it messes with your head. So I didn't like taking a lot of pictures, right? So in that time, from here to here, I tried so many different things to get myself back to being not only as fit as I used to be, but even better, right? I went from this, my senior year of high school, to now looking like this, right? So I tried so many different things to make that happen. The number one thing that I tried doing was, as a wrestler, we used to starve ourselves all the time to lose weight. I tried starving myself. I tried doing a lot of cardio, putting on a hoodie and running and doing cardio and starving myself because that's what I knew. That's how I used to cut weight for matches. But I quickly found out that that was not an efficient way of losing weight. I was losing water weight. I was losing muscle mass. I was losing a little bit of fat. But overall, once I stopped doing it, once I stopped starving myself and I started eating, I would put the weight right back on. So instantly I knew that was not sustainable. The next thing I tried was doing a lot of cardio, like we did for soccer. I would try running almost every day, and my body was just beat up. It wasn't sustainable. It was tiring. Of course, I could do that, but it was tough. As somebody who was now working part-time jobs, who was in school full-time, working towards a degree and the plans of going to medical school, it just wasn't sustainable for me. So I knew there had to be a better way. So around this time, like I said, I was in college. I actually ended up switching my major completely from biology to kinesiology. This opened up a couple of doors for me. It allowed me to study anatomy, physiology, and the human body, and just exercise physiology and nutrition even more. I ended up getting certified as a trainer. I got my nutrition certification, and I just dove in even deeper. And I realized that there was something crazy about the fitness industry and how they taught people to lose weight. I realized that the fitness industry at the time and even today was similar to giving a man a fish. They taught people how to see quick results, but not how to maintain it. And I realized that we needed a drastic change in how this was taught. I wanted to learn how to fish. I wanted to learn how to be in the best shape of my life like I am down here and keep it up permanently. And I knew that so many other people wanted the same thing. So through years of trial and error, through studying, I came up with what I call the M3 protocol. The difference with the M3 protocol and what a lot of people are teaching is I'm teaching you how to fish. Instead of giving you a fish, instead of helping you lose 20 pounds, 30 pounds with a 30-day challenge or 75 hard, I'm teaching you how to make this a permanent, sustainable lifestyle so that you can continue seeing progress long after 3 months, right? When I figured this out, I was able to implement it in my friends' lives because a lot of my friends were struggling with the same thing, you know? A lot of my friends had gained their freshman 15, sophomore 15. A lot of my friends gained a lot of weight that they just didn't know how to gain it all back. So I implemented the system into their lives and they saw results. From there, I eventually became a personal trainer in person, training at Gold Gym. Implemented the same system in my clients' lives and they also saw results. So I knew I was onto something. Teaching a man to fish versus giving a man a fish is huge. So I created the M3 protocol, and my goal with this video today is to show you the mistakes that my client Sam was making that kept him stuck. When he came to me, he had been stuck at a plateau for over 6 months. When he came to me, I was able to shift his mindset, show him what mistakes he was making, and change it, right? So he went from this to this, 3 months. His goal was actually 30, but because he executed to a T, he actually ended up losing 32 pounds. And then even more, after the 3 months, he went on to continue losing weight and get in even better shape, right? So my goal today is to help you recreate these same results. Whether your goal is to lose 30 pounds, 60 pounds, 100 pounds, if you follow the process I'm telling you, I promise you, you will see the same results. The goal is to save you years of trial and error, to cut out the noise and drastically simplify the process of getting and staying in the best shape of your life. Before we even dive in deeper, I want to make sure I'm not wasting your time, right? I want to make sure that you're in the right place. So if any of these points stick out to you, if you are any of these people, feel free to pause the screen or, take your time and read, because I'm going to go through a few points. If any of this sticks out to you and this is who you are, don't even waste your time. Just scroll away, go watch some reels, watch some TikToks, do a 75 hard. Again, if any of this stick out to you, this is not for you. If you're someone who's impatient and you want quick results, if you have a trip coming up next month and you want to lose 30 pounds before the trip, this is not for you. This is not for you. You have some work to do before you can even dive into this. If you have shiny object syndrome and you're just jumping from one thing to the next, you really got to stop. Find something that works and stick to it. This is not for you. If you're somebody who is not serious and you're not willing to put in the work, this is not for you, because I'm telling you straight up that this will require you to put in a little bit of work. Good things take work. Good things take time. If it was free, if it was not even free, if it was easy, everybody would have it. If having a good body, a good physique, being fit, being healthy was easy, everybody would have it. But because it takes some effort, some people can't even be bothered. But if this is something that you really want, then you're in the right place. If you're somebody that enjoys spending 3 hours in the gym every day, 6-7 days a week, this might not be for you. You're better off doing something else, because as somebody who runs a business, who is an older brother or son, I don't have time to spend 3 hours in the gym. And I'm a coach, right? So if I don't have time for 3 hours in the gym, you shouldn't have time for 3 hours in the gym. And if that's what you want to do, this video is not for you. But if you're looking to lose 30 pounds of fat, not weight, fat, because there's a huge difference between losing weight and losing fat. If you're looking to lose 30 pounds of fat minimum and add on lean muscle mass, then you want to stick around. I promise you're going to get a lot of value from this video. If you're sick of losing and regaining the same 5 to 10 pounds and you're ready to make a lasting change, definitely stick around. You're going to enjoy this video. If you're sick of coasting through life and you're ready to become the best version of yourself, physically, spiritually, mentally, I promise you, stick around. This is the video for you. It's going to blow your mind. The beautiful thing about the system that I've set up is not only did Sam improve himself physically, he also improved his relationship. He saw a direct impact on his career, right? On his finances. Everything changed once he put this into place, because there's no way to make a permanent change without becoming a different person. And we'll get into that. If you're looking for a sustainable lifestyle change and you still want to be able to enjoy food and enjoy company and going out and having fun, then you want to stick around, because again, as I told you, Sam went to a wedding, he had a friend's birthday, and he went on vacation throughout the 3 months, and he still was able to lose weight. You don't have to do all or nothing. You can find a sustainable approach, right? Like I said before, the old way, what a lot of coaches and trainers do is giving a man a fish. What I'm trying to show you, the new way of doing things, is teaching a man a fish. I'm going to teach you how to make this into a sustainable lifestyle so that you never have to go through the process again, right? The old things that people do, that I made the same mistakes in the past, is starving yourself, doing hours of cardio, right? Doing cleanses, 75 hard, 30-day challenges, all that stuff. You got to leave all that in the past. You got to leave all that in the past. Doing intense HIIT workouts, running every single day. If those are things you enjoy doing, go ahead and keep doing them. But if your goal is to lose weight, to lose fat and efficiently, if your goal is to lose fat in an efficient manner, then you got to try the new way. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to teach you how to fish. I'm going to teach you how to lose fat efficiently. And that starts with changing your core identity and changing your habits. We'll dive into that very soon. That comes with building systems, because when you have the right systems, it eliminates resistance and the results are natural, right? The new way has less emphasis on how many calories you burned and more emphasis on building lean muscle mass. When you focus on building muscle, naturally you will lose fat. And we'll get into that soon. The new way has to do with understanding, fixing, and maximizing your metabolism, because your metabolism is your natural fat burning engine. And we'll dive into all that very soon. So again, you're in the right place if you're ready to shift to become a new version of you. You're ready to become you 2.0. You're ready to elevate physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, your relationships. Everything's going to change once you implement this system. In the next few slides, in the next 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to show you the limiting beliefs, the mindsets holding you back from stepping into your potential. I'm going to show you how to lose a minimum of 30 pounds, how to eat and work out for your desired results, and how to automate the whole process so that you can continue losing weight, losing fat, and building muscle in your sleep. So, only thing that I ask of you, M3 protocol, it's the same system that I built this through trial and error. I studied years. My degree came into use. My certifications. I studied this. I implemented it. It's worked on myself and it's worked on countless other people, apart from just Sam, who lost 32 pounds in 3 months. My guy Francis lost body fat. Maya lost 60 pounds. Jay, 22 pounds. This has been tried, tested, and proved. And I promise you, even like my guy Alex right here, 35 pounds in 3 months. Akwe, decreased body fat, completely different person. Madani, 20 pounds in 3 months, right? This is tried, tested, and proven. The only thing that I ask of you, you don't even have to pause the video. The only thing that I ask of you, scroll down, leave a comment, and say, I'm watching, I'm tracking. Just say something to let me know that you're here and you've gotten this far. And just so I know that you do find these valuable, it does take me a lot of time to put these presentations together, to record them, edit them, and upload them. So the more people I have that are commenting and letting me know that they enjoy it, the more of these I'll keep doing. So please scroll down and leave a comment. It could be as simple as I'm watching or I'm tracking, right? Let's dive in. This is where it gets fun. M3 protocol. Again, it's broken down into 3 specific sections: muscle, mindset, and mastery. When you combine these 3, muscle plus mindset plus mastery, you have fat loss, you have growth, and sustainable results. So component number 1 is going to be the mindset. You have to start at the mindset. Again, teaching a man to fish versus giving a man a fish. The biggest mistake I see people make when they're trying to lose weight is trying to lose weight, trying to jump into things without tackling the mindset. Mindset essentially means crafting a new identity. You have to become a new person. Old wine cannot fit into old wineskins. New wine can't fit into old wineskins. I think that's a scripture. I'll have to look that up. But essentially, you have to become a new person, right? What got you here will not get you there. What got you 30 pounds heavier, 60 pounds heavier, 100 pounds overweight will not get you to where you want to be. You have to change your mindset, everything about yourself. Your daily habits. Your identity consists of your daily habits, your core beliefs, your environment, your standards, your self-talk, your emotional regulation. If you stress eat, you got to fix that. You have to learn how to regulate your emotions without defaulting to nutrition. If you lay in bed scrolling for 8 hours every day, If you lay in bed scrolling from 10 p.m. to 3 a.m., barely get sleep, and then you're rushing to work the next day, you got to change that. If your environment is not conducive of reaching the place you want to be, let's say you live at home and everybody's just eating junk food, you got to figure out ways to change that environment. If you don't have any standards for your life, you don't go to sleep at the right time, you don't wake up at the right time, you eat junk, you drink beer every day, you smoke every day, you got to change that, right? Trying to lose weight without changing your mindset is like putting a fresh coat of paint on a car with the busted engine. I'm gonna repeat that. Trying to lose weight without changing your mindset is like putting a fresh coat of paint on a car with a busted engine. It'll look nice, you might get around the block, but eventually it's gonna stop moving and you'll be right back at square one. So the number one thing Sam and I did is we changed his identity. We crafted Sam 2.0 because I knew, and I got him to understand that if we don't craft Sam 2.0, if we kept his old beliefs, his old mindset, his old habits, but tried to help him lose weight, it's only a matter of time before he would default back to where he was. Not only that, but when you don't shift your identity, there's a disconnect with your goals. There's cognitive dissonance with who you're trying to be and what your actions are. If you're trying to become somebody who is healthy, who eats healthy, who likes eating healthy, likes working out, who sees themselves as a fit person, but you can't emotionally regulate. Anytime there's something stressful happen, anytime there's anything stressful, you turn to food, you turn to drinking, right? That's counterproductive, counterintuitive to your goals. So you have to create alignment with who you're trying to become and your daily actions. When you create that alignment, it's easy to set up systems that make it easier to stay consistent. When you create that alignment, you're able to push when things get hard. When you create that alignment, you have systems that lead to permanent results. So how exactly do you shift your mindset and craft this new identity? Number one, I already told you. You have to get clear on who you are and where you're at right now. Get clear on how much you weigh, what your habits are, what your beliefs are. If you have anxiety around food, if food is your coping mechanism for stress, if you drink beer all of those different things, you have to get clear on your daily habits and who you currently are. Step two, you have to get clarity on who you're trying to become and where you're trying to be. How much do you want to weigh? It gets deeper than that. What habits, what kind of person do you want to be? Do you want to be a structured person? Do you want to be a regulated person? Do you want to be somebody who isn't stressed out by random events, who is rigid and stoic in their demeanor, right? If that's who you want to become, but you're not putting things in place to change that, you'll never become that person. That's like saying you want to save up for a car, but you never save money. You just spend everything you get. That's a disconnect. You have to align your daily actions with who you're trying to become. Step three is once you have clarity on who you currently are and who you're trying to be, step three is establishing standards and daily non-negotiables, right? If you know that you struggle with emotional eating, set some standards, set some non-negotiables in place. If you know that your job is very sedentary and you barely get any steps in throughout the day, set things in place to make sure that you can do that, to make sure that you can be active, right? Some of the daily non-negotiables that Sam and I implemented because he had a very sedentary job is making sure that every single day he was able to get 10,000 steps. Now, we didn't start at 10,000 steps. We ramped him up little by little. Initially, it was about 3,000 steps. Maybe go for a walk in the morning, 30 minutes. Eventually, it became go for a walk in the morning, go for a walk in the evening, do some car. So now we put little things in place that made it easy for him to go from Sam A to Sam B, to become Sam 2.0. Once you have that in place, the last step is to establish the right systems to bridge the gap from the two different people. Again, Sam A, Sam 2, Sam 2.0. All right? So once you have that new identity, you've crafted that new identity, you've gotten clarity, you've established the standards, the daily non-negotiables. Step number two, component number two is muscle. The mistake a lot of people make when they're trying to lose weight is focusing too much on how many calories they're burning. That's the wrong thing to do. The amount of muscle you have on you directly impacts your metabolic health, right? And your metabolic health is a foundational for permanent fat loss. If your metabolic health is solid, your body is working with you. If your metabolic health is poor, your body is working against you, or you're working against your body. And that's what happened to Sam. He was doing so many different things that actually crashed his metabolism, crashed his metabolic health. And that's the reason he was stuck at a plateau for 6 months. He had lost weight, but he hadn't lost a lot of fat. And because his metabolic health was in such poor shape, he was no longer able to lose any more weight. So many people do this without even knowing, right? When you improve your metabolism, when you're working on your metabolic health and it's in good shape, that improves your metabolism, meaning you can burn more calories at rest easily without doing anything. Because I have a lot of muscle mass on me, I'm sitting here talking to you and I'm burning calories. When you improve your metabolic health, you have a better mood. You have better mood, better sleep, better recovery, meaning you build more muscle, meaning you burn more fat easily. You have better blood sugar control, meaning there's less fat being stored, right? Again, when your metabolic health is sound, you're working with your body as opposed to working against. The big mistake that stops people from lifting weights and building muscle is they think muscle makes you bulky. Muscle doesn't make you bulky. That's a huge myth that people have. Muscle does not make you bulky. Contrary to popular belief, muscle is what gives you the tone, lean look that most people want. You know what does make you bulky? Fat. When you have more fat on you, you look bulky. If it was so easy for people to look that big, everybody that went to the gym would look that big, but it's not easy, right? Muscle makes you lean, it makes you bulky. The more lean muscle mass you have on you, the better you look. The easier it is to burn fat. Again, if your goal is to lose fat, if your goal is to lose weight, your number one priority should be your metabolic health, meaning you have to focus on building muscle. Most people, when they're trying to lose fat, when they're trying to lose weight, they do hours of cardio. I've been there. Sam has been there. They starve themselves. I've been there. Sam has been there. They get into drastic caloric deficits. I've been there. Sam has been there. They don't prioritize sleep. They let stress run their lives. They don't pay any attention to macros. You don't want to do all that stuff because when you do that, you're negatively impacting your metabolic health. You're crashing your metabolic health. And when you do that, you will lose weight, but it won't be fat. You'll lose fat, you'll lose muscle, you'll lose water weight. So you'll be lighter, but you'll still have a very similar body composition. You don't want to do any of these things. None of this. That's bad. Instead, you want to focus on building muscle, building lean muscle mass. So how do you build lean muscle mass, right? 2 main ways of doing that. You have to optimize your nutrition, and you actually have to get in the gym. You actually have to lift weights. Let's talk about nutrition first. The mistake a lot of people make when they're trying to lose weight is they cut so many foods out. They cut out sugar. They get in a drastic deficit, right? Long story short, they do things that are very restrictive. That works in the moment, but not long term. In reality, you just need to be in a small caloric deficit. 500 calories is more than enough. 500 calories will get you where you need to get, right? It needs to be sustainable. If you're following something that's unsustainable, if you're cutting out sugar, cutting out carbs, you're barely eating, sure, you lose weight for a few weeks, a few months, but what happens when you start eating? What happens when you reintroduce carbs into your diet? What happens when you reintroduce sugar into your diet? You know what happens because you've probably been there. You gain the weight right back on. I've seen it happen so many different times. So your diet has to be sustainable, non-restrictive. So I teach my clients, and I implemented this into Sam's life. This is something I call flexible dieting, flexible nutrition, meaning 80% of the time he's eating whole, healthy, nutritious foods, and then 20% of the time he's able to enjoy going out with friends, able to enjoy going out to eat, and he can still take part in events, weddings, vacations, right? That's how you make it sustainable. You do have to change your diet to a degree, but it can still be sustainable, right? If you try to cut everything out all at once, you're going to give up, you're going to backtrack and get back to where you need to be. Number 2, apart from diet, you also have to have structured resistance training. A lot of people, when they try to go into the gym to work out, they just do a little bit of everything. I'm just going to do this here and this here and this here. I'm just gonna go do some abs here, do the Stairmaster here, do the elliptical here. I'm gonna do a few push. That's not structured. Again, if your goal is to buy a car and you know that you have to get this in order, save this much money, and you don't do any of that, you're not gonna achieve your goal. You have to have, number one, you have to have structure. Number two, you have to have progressive overload, meaning you do have to force your muscle to be pushed past its comfort zone in order to grow. The best way to have progressive overload is to either increase the sets, increase the reps, or increase time under tension. There's so many different ways to have that, but you don't have to change that every single day, but periodically, as you're building muscle, as you get stronger, you have to continue increasing the load so that your muscles continue growing. One mistake I see people do when they do go to the gym is lifting 10 pounds for 5 months. Oh yeah, I'm just trying to tone. I'm just trying to do lightweight because lightweight tone. That's a myth. You do have to lift heavy weights to build muscle. The muscle will help you burn fat, giving you that toned, lean look. Another mistake a lot of people make is they try to, again, having that all or nothing mentality. Oh, if I'm trying to lose this much weight, that means I need to be in the gym every single day, working out every single day. No, that's not sustainable. The whole point of this is lifestyle changes, sustainability. So find what works for you long term. So what I would recommend is 3 to 4 days a week. That's more than enough. You can build lean muscle mass. With Sam, he was actually only working out 3 days a week. Before he came to me, he was working out 6 days a week. I had him cut his time in half, and he was able to see progress with that. You know why? Because it was sustainable, because it was efficient. He was no longer wasting hours in the gym, overtraining, which actually negatively impacts your results, but he was more efficient in the gym, right? And it allowed him to focus more on things that actually matter more, such as factoring his macros, managing his cravings, the daily non-negotiables we talked about, drinking water, getting steps in, right? So when you do those, you do improve your metabolic health and fat burning becomes natural. Even without you doing any extra work, it becomes natural. The last step is mastery. This is probably the most important part. Actually, all of them are pretty important, to be honest, but mastery is also very important. I always tell people, you have to learn how to set systems, not goals. Because when you have the right systems in place, you can accomplish any goal. When you have the right systems in place, you can take that system, give it to person A, they'll accomplish the goal. Give it to person B, they'll accomplish the goal. Give it to person C, they'll accomplish the goal. However, if you just have goals and you say, hey, your goal is to do this, your goal is to do that, your goal is to do that, you won't accomplish those goals. So you have to set the right systems, because with the right systems, you'll accomplish any goal. You can't brute force your way into permanent results. You shouldn't rely on motivation or willpower. Both of those are fleeting. Day to day, some days you'll be motivated, some days you won't, right? Some days you'll have enough to channel willpower, some days you won't. Instead, you have to set the right systems to make that happen. One of the main mistakes I see people make is having no system, so they're constantly at the mercy of how they feel. If they've had a good day at work, cool, I'm gonna go to the gym. If they had a fight with their girlfriend or their boyfriend, you know what, I'm gonna just stay home. You have to have systems in place that allow you to be consistent regardless how you feel. A good rule of thumb, a formula that I like to use is intentionality plus internal and external feedback plus patience and time gives you the results you want. You have to be intentional about what you do. Get clarity on where you're at, where you want to be. Set your daily habits, your daily goals, your daily non-negotiables, and be intentional about getting that every day. Once you have that, now you're doing that and you have feedback, right? The feedback that tells you if things are working or they're not working. You use that feedback to pivot, to adapt, right? And when you know that you have the right system in place and you're getting constant feedback, now it's just about being patient. Give it time and be patient. Trust the process, and before you know it, you'll reach your results, right? If you don't have the right systems in place, you're not being intentional, and there's no feedback, there's no point being patient because you're wasting your time. There's no point trusting the process because there is no process, right? You have to have everything I just mentioned in place. Component 1, component 2, and component 3. And when you have that, trust the process, give it time, and before you know it, you'll have the results you want. Most people typically rely on friends or gym buddies to keep them accountable. But if you are not accountable, if you're not consistent, and your friend is not consistent, how does that work? How do you guys keep each other consistent? It's a blind leading the blind. If you don't have a system of tracking progress, what are you doing? If you're scared to check your weight, that should be an indication that you're not doing what needs to be done for you to see the results you need, right? If you're scared to take progress pictures, that should be an indication that you're not doing what that you know you don't have a good system in place to see the results. Because if you did have a good system in place, if you did know you were getting results, you'd be excited to check the scale. You'd be excited to take progress pictures. Sam was excited to take progress pictures. Every 2 weeks, he had it loaded up. Every week, he had his weight updated because he was seeing consistent progress. So he knew what he was doing was working. If you're telling yourself, oh, I don't want to take pictures, I don't want to psych myself out, oh, I don't want to check my weight, I don't want to psych myself out, that tells you that you know you're not really, you don't know what you're doing. You're just guessing. And if you guess, you're not going to get desired results. You have to have systems in place, right? You have to have a system of tracking progress and giving you what I mentioned earlier, that internal and external feedback. Because that feedback is going to be what allows you to adjust your program as needed. If you're doing something for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you're not seeing results, that should tell you something needs to change. Use that feedback to adjust your program and move on to the next thing, right? Most people typically have an all or nothing mindset. There's no regular feedback. They're either like, I'm gonna just go do 75 hard, work out 2 times a day, no food, no, and then a year later they're back with the same weight. You don't want to do this, because that all or nothing mindset, that lack of feedback, that lack of systems, that leads to stagnancy. It leads to a plateau, which is what Sam was at. It leads to inconsistent and mediocre results at best. So how do you go about doing that? How do you go about changing that? What should you do instead? As I mentioned, number one, you need to have a system that allows you to be consistent, regardless how you feel. Whether that's having a coach to keep you accountable, whether that's having a friend to go to the gym with you, whether that's having a trainer waiting for you at the gym, you need to have a system to keep you consistent, regardless how you feel. Whether that's leaving your gym clothes in your car so that you can go directly after work, right? Whether that's meal prepping your food so that you already have food to eat and there's no excuse and there's no reason for you to go to Chick-fil-A or Starbucks. You need to have a system to keep you consistent, regardless how you feel. If you don't have your food ready and you're hungry, what are you gonna do? You order Grubhub, Uber Eats. Whereas if you already have your food prepped, you're more likely to stick to what you know you need to do. Number two, you need to have a system of tracking progress and assessing feedback. For me, every single client, they need to check their weight every week, their progress pictures every 2 weeks. We need to check through Zoom, through phone, whatever way we need to do to make sure that they're moving and hitting their goals. So we have that regular system of tracking progress and assessing feedback. If you notice that something's not happening with Sam, every time we checked in, if I noticed that something was off or something needed to be adapted, we would adapt that and progress, right? Too many times I see people doing the same thing for weeks on end, not seeing results, but then hoping that it just naturally gets better. That's not how it works. You need to have regular feedback and adjust based on that feedback. Last but not least, you got to have daily habits that contribute to your success. That's what I call the daily non-negotiables. Drinking your water, doing your workout, getting your steps in, getting enough sleep, right? Regulating your nervous system, whether that's prayer, meditation, journaling, all those things need to be implemented into your day-to-day lifestyle. Otherwise, you're just going through the motions. And with all this, I know it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. When you try to do all this at once, it becomes overwhelming. However, what I do with my clients, what I did with Sam, is we split this up into 3 distinct phases. The diagnostic phase, the foundational phase, and the acceleration phase, right? So in the diagnostic phase, all we did is actually just assess his data, where his weight is at, what his body fat is at. We identified his current habits. We identified his health triggers, if it's emotional eating, if it's a stressful day at work, all that stuff. We identified that. And then from there, we tracked baseline data points, baseline strength, weights, sleep habits, exercise routine. We identified the current him and the future him, and then we bridge the gap. That's where the foundational phase came in. We solidified those daily non-negotiables. So the diagnostic phase lasts anywhere, depending on the person and how big their goals are, this can last anywhere from 4 weeks to 8 weeks, right? The foundational phase is next. This is probably the longest phase. In this phase, we solidify the daily non-negotiables. We make sure that they become habits, right? A lot of people say it takes 21 days to build a habit. I think it takes longer. You have to detach from the whole 21-day mindset and just commit to the process. Before you know it, you become that new person, right? We identified and solidified those daily non-negotiables. We worked on proper form. We improved metabolic conditioning, and we had specific rituals in place to make it simple and easy to get to the desired results, right? Once you've done that, you've gone through the diagnostic phase, foundational phase. At this point, you are now becoming this new person. The old you is dead and gone, and you've become this new person. And now all it is to do is accelerate, hit the gas, run with it. We start adding more progressive overload. We start manipulating the macros, right? More protein, less carbs here, more fats here. We start doing that. So we might go into a fat loss phase. We might go into a maintenance phase. We might go into a mini bulk phase. Whatever needs to be done to see the desired results, right? The mistake a lot of people make is when they want to lose weight, they're just in a constant deficit for the rest of their life. You're not supposed to be in a deficit for the rest of your life, right? So we manipulate the calories, the macros, and then we push performance markers. Now you're seeing increases in strength. You're seeing increases in speed. You're sleeping better. You're feeling better. You're looking better. You look more jacked, more lean, more muscular, more toned, right? And then the last phase, I didn't even include that, but the last phase is you've become the new person. Now you can maintain the result and you know how to adapt and readjust as need be, right? So again, M3 protocol, very simple. Muscle, mindset, mastery. When you combine the three, you have muscle growth, which leads to fat loss, which leads to sustainable results.
So Sam P, 28 years old, started at 260 pounds.
In the 3 months that we've trained together, I believe you've lost a little bit over, 27, 30, 33 pounds now?
32 pounds as of today.
Okay. So as I said, this method has worked on Sam, and I have the full interview on my YouTube channel. So if you want, comment down below, comment Sam interview, and I'll post a link. But this system helped cut out the noise, eliminate the guesswork, and make it easy for him to lose fat and build lean muscle mass, right? Look at that. He lost inches in his midsection, inches in his stomach. He looked younger just by losing weight. His habits changed. His relationship improved because they no longer had alcohol at the house. He literally became a whole new person. He went from drinking 2 to 3 beers every night after work just to take the edge off to now he just feels happy and confident enough. He's emotionally regulated, right? Which improved his relationship with his girlfriend, improved his relationships at work. He literally became a whole new person because of these systems. But that's not it. It wasn't just Sam. The same exact thing happened to multiple other clients.
Definitely recommend to you. Definitely go like, yo. It changed my life specifically. So, in my opinion, a life changing like this,
Same with my client Alex. He was stuck at a plateau for months. He was doing a lot of the mistakes that I mentioned earlier, right? He came into my program. He told me, hey, coach, I want to lose 35 pounds in 3 months. I told him, hey, that's going to require a little bit of work on your end. Are you ready to put in the work? He said, yes, let's do it. 3 months later, he lost exactly 35 pounds. Same with him. I have the interview on my YouTube page. If you want to see it, comment the word down below, Alex interview, and I'll send it to you, right? Then you have Maya. Maya, superstar. I gave her the script. She ran with it. 60 pounds in 7 months. It was amazing, amazing progress.
definitely
Love to see this.
recommend.
Right? This system, I'm telling you, it's tried, tested, and proven. I've used it. My clients have used it. So many different people have used it. It's worked on my guy, Roy. At 73 years old, he lost 35 pounds. It's worked on Akwe. He decreased body fat, lost 11 pounds in 12 weeks, but decreased his body fat, right? My guy, Madani, Love handles decreased tremendously. Jay, 22 pounds in 12 weeks. Julissa, she lost 52 pounds with me, and then went off on her own and lost an additional 50 pounds on her own. Literally using what I taught her. So this has worked on hundreds of other people, and it can work on you as well. You just got to be willing and able to put in the work, and again, be patient. If you have the right systems and you're patient, you'll see the similar results. Now that you understand the process, I have a simple, easy offer for you. If you're skinny fat, meaning you're not necessarily fat, but you have those love handles, you don't like the way you look, you don't like taking your shirt off in public. If you're skinny fat, if you are fat, overweight, obese, if you're tired of restarting your fitness journey every year and having the same exact New Year's resolution, if you're tired of sitting at the pool or at the beach and not being able to take your shirt off because you feel unconfident, right? And you're ready to lose fat once and for all, ready to build lean muscle mass and become the best version of yourself, physically, mentally, financially, relationally, everything, right? If you want to lose minimum 15 to 30 pounds and put on lean muscle mass, there's two things I want you to do. One of two things I want you to do. Number one, click the link in the caption, in the description, go to my Instagram, DM me M3. If you DM me M3, I know you've seen this video and I know that we're on the same wavelength. And I'll schedule a call with you where I can give you the exact steps, the exact implementation framework. I've already given you the blueprint right here. You can run with it. But if you want more personalized one-on-one help, DM me M3 on Instagram and I'll set up a call with you and we'll go through that. Alternatively, you can click the link in the caption in the description and you can schedule a one-on-one call on your own, right? Choose a time that works best, schedule a call, we'll hop on, we'll talk, we'll chop it up, and I'll see how I can help you get to that goal so that you can be you 2.0. If you made it this far, listen, I appreciate you watching. I know this was a long video. It was much longer than I anticipated, but I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you being here. Please, again, make sure to like this video, leave a comment. If you made it to the end, comment the word "the end" so I know you made it to the end. I appreciate you again. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be putting out a lot more videos. Not all of them will be this long, but I will be putting out more videos like this just to help y'all out become a better version of yourself. So again, appreciate you watching. Have a good night.